Imagine going through the whole process of applying for a mortgage loan, going through the multiple inspections and the big stress of buying a house, only to tell your spouse, family members, significant others that you regret buying a house after 7 months.
So my wife and I just bought a house. I'm feeling a little buyer's remorse, and I just wanted to get y'all's take on our financial situation.
Well, today's video, I will tell you exactly the things that some of these case scenarios that I'm going to share with you, people should have done differently in order to avoid the regrets they are going through. So let's dive right in. So people over Reddit have been posting all these comments about they kind of regret buying a house. So let's take a look at this one. It says, I am 40. I think a bit of more than I can chew. Moved to this property in hometown. Take home about 11K a month. Mortgage and HOA is close to 7,000. 25K in credit card debt is building up since buying the property. Took a new job. Now looking into the impending layoff and thinking that it's just too much pressure to do it on my own. This person cannot rent the house for a price of the mortgage, meaning you will be on a negative. And this is probably time for me to sell and save for another 40 years before I can buy a house again. Most likely, this person is 40 and 40 years, 80 most likely won't be the case. So let's digest this scenario. So this is the typical scenario where this person went ahead and bought a house without really having a financial plan, having a financial idea of what is the things they could do. And it says at the beginning, I probably went ahead and bought more than I can afford. So this is a very, very normal circumstance with a lot of people that I know of and I hear come across talk about I was buying something bigger than I wanted. And it happens when you buy a car, it happens when you buy a second home. Sometimes it happens that we get so enthusiastic about buying something, but the reality is that sometimes we cannot afford. So what kind of advice as a real estate agent I could have given to this person to begin with? So let me just break it down for you a little bit. So I would say to this person, have a financial plan all the time. So some of my other videos that I talk about is that your mortgage should not exceed 25-30% of the gross income that you bring home. In this scenario, this person says that it makes about 11K a month. So if we do the math, so if you do $11,000 times 25%, that'll give you about 2750. That's $2,750. That should have been a healthy mortgage for this person to have. That would have left this person with about $8,250 in their bank account every month. So you see, but in this case, this person is using 7,000 plus HOA. So what happened is this person has gone over what is something that is normally referred in the lending industry as debt to income ratio. And this person probably went and took a lot more than they can handle, as is self-admitted at the beginning of the posting. So you also have to be careful with that, because a lot of realtors will push you, or loan officers will push you to buy something that sometimes you cannot afford. So you got to be careful with this. So rule of thumb is try to stay between 25 and 30% of your gross monthly income to be allocated for your housing expenses. Even if you're renting, I will say the same concept will apply. Number two, this person should have gone to talk to a loan officer at the beginning of the process to run different scenarios and run different monthly payments. You can run a scenarios putting 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, 30% down, and then you can run these different scenarios. Now, this person talks about 25K in credit card debt. I don't know why the credit card debt is in there. Typically speaking, you should not be incurring an additional debt when buying a house. Typical mistakes buyers will make, especially first-time home buyers, is that as excited as they are buying a new home with a 2-3 car garage and it has the family room they've been dreaming of, is they'll go to a furniture store and go and apply for a line of credit over there or a credit card and start to buy furniture while buying a house. So never apply for another type of debt while you are in the process of pre-qualifying for a loan, opening a credit card. Buy second car or third or fourth car if you need to. Just make sure that if you need to do something like that, that your loan officer is fully aware. So that way you don't go under these circumstances. But let's take a look at some of the comments this person received from other people. So as you know, you come to Reddit, you expose yourself. So this person says, "Hey, you are single and your mortgage is 7K. How big is the house? How much did you put down?" Okay, let's say your mortgage is 7K. You still have 4K left per month. I cannot imagine your utilities are more than 1K a month. Where is the other 3K going? Even if paying off the 25K, what are the payments there? Do you drive? What's that per month? I'm going to hope and assume under 500. So let's even get down to food, 500 a month. So you have, 500 left probably. What am I missing? So in this case, as you can see, this person, of course, forgot to give us the whole picture, but the reality it is that your living expenses should not be this big. They should not be like your mortgage should not be. In this case, it's more than 50% of your what you take home every month. So this is huge. This is, I mean, it's crazy. I wouldn't be able to sleep myself with something like that. So we all should have some kind of rule of thumb here. And in this case, I like to always refer to Dave Ramsey. I don't endorse anything or do any paid advertising. I'm just saying that I kind of like what his thinking is. And in these cases, a single person household spends an average $4,600 a month. In this case, this other person that we know, it's spending a lot more than that. And here's kind of like a breakdown. So in this case, he's using a 32%. What did I say at the beginning? 25 to 30% should be allocated for housing. And of course, you have your other expenses. So you got to be really careful when you are in the process because otherwise you ended up buying something you cannot afford and you will regret it. What solutions do I give to this person right now? Here are the options that I'll give this person. So the solutions that I'll do is number one is see what options do you have in terms of like roommates renting to other people temporarily. Look at the rental market in your area. Maybe you can convert a portion of this house into, again, roommates or Airbnb if possible to help yourself over the weekends to bring some people, depending where you bought. That's what's important. That location is one of the main factors. Number two is talk to your lender just to see what other options you may have. Maybe your lender will give you an additional option. Maybe it's time for you to do a short sale, and yeah, you're going to ruin your credit, but you're going to probably get some peace of mind. And in 3, 4 years, you should be able to be back on the market to buy a house with a better down payment and financial understanding. Talk to your financial advisor, talk to a real estate agent, how much this property can potentially sell if you are in a market where things are up and going. Maybe you are able to sell the house and hopefully you can break even, or maybe you have to bring a little bit more money, but that way you're not using a lot of these monthly expenses towards the house, the 7K. So in this scenario, maybe you go and rent something for 2,000. Again, we don't know where this person is located, but at the same time, you have that peace of mind that you can start just paying off that 25K. So always have a plan of action. I always tell my buyers, whether it's your first house, you are upsizing to a bigger home, your forever home, we need to have a plan. And the sooner we sit down to talk about the the goal in mind, which is buying a house, the better it is. So sit down with the realtor, sit down with a loan officer, a financial advisor. Definitely, it's not a bad idea if you have one, so that you can really understand what you are able to do in moving forward. So that would be my advice. But let's take a look at another scenario that I came across. So here's another scenario: regret buying our dream home, right? And at the end of the day, our goal is as real estate agents to help you buy your dream home. And realtors should definitely be doing a good job on this, coaching people. 3 years ago, we bought our house in this area. I made a mistake of involving my parents in the house hunting process. I was during a crazy time that people were offering 200, 300 above asking price. So it's really hard to get an offer accepted. We will have 15 minutes to look a house, and then we have to decide if we wanted to make an offer or not. So, this is kind of like typical scenario of the things that you could have done. Looking back, and had no clue what we were doing. So of course, we learned on my parents to help us. Initially, I went into wanting to buy a smaller home in the 700s price range, but about 20 minutes from the big city. Well, they talked me into buying a much larger home, over $1 million, in a more rural. So that's mistake number one. Is if you really want to buy something that maybe you need to resell, you got to make sure that it is going to be in an area that it is desirable. I'm not saying that this area is not desirable, but this is now says 1 hour from the city. They strongly pushed me into buying the home oh no, this is the perfect house for you, right? We can hear some of our parents saying that it can be your forever home. True, it can be your forever home. You're going to regret it so much if you buy a smaller house. Okay, so let's pause it for a minute. Buying a smaller house is not a problem, never has been a problem. Yes, you may regret it, but there is an advantage that you have when you buy a smaller home, which is you can build equity, and that equity you can take it to buy the next house. Maybe that house becomes an investment property with a positive cash flow. So you see, not everything here is thrown out there into a place that it doesn't work out. You have to get this house. So they made it an emotional decision and did not paint a type of realistic picture of the reality owning this home. So now let's move down here. Now I every single day I regret not buying that much smaller house 20 minutes from the city. You see, big regret. Distance, right? Is location, location, location. I am angry with myself for going against my gut and what I originally wanted to do because now we are priced out of that area. Big problem. Homes have gone up much more than ours, and we had to make many repairs and things like adding solar since our electricity is so high. Okay, again, right? You have to utilities, right? Three HVAC systems. Holy smokes! And the house is over 30 years old, so a lot of things needed to be replaced. Now it's beautiful home in a nice area, and the partner loves the house. We will lose money if we moved. Plus, we cannot afford a house in those areas. So never buy if you're going to be buying a much bigger home. Make sure the house, especially with three HVAC systems, make sure the house is it's newer, or at least some of the mechanical items have been replaced, because this is typical scenario where you're buying something that you definitely will regret buying down the road. So what is wrong with this scenario? It's an emotional scenario. It's an emotional impulsive scenario. We're buying a house. Do not trust your impulses. Sometimes yes, sometimes you don't should not be trusting your parents in this type of decision. You need to really understand numbers. It is very important to understand numbers will speak. Yes, you can buy a bigger house, but it's an hour away from where you are located. Well, let's add up gasoline, the time you may be stuck in traffic, maybe the food that you have to buy on your way home, because you're going to go home so late that you don't want to cook anything. So you rather bring something or eat on the way home. Or in the mornings, the coffee you have to buy, the Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, right? The Starbucks that you have to be buying on your way to work because you have to commute 1 hour. That right alone can add a lot in gasoline, tire maintenance for your vehicle. So you have to take a lot of these things into consideration. And then, of course, the house is super big. So nobody's home. You all leave the house. It is 30 degrees outside, cold as you cannot imagine. And now you have to keep the house warm with three HVAC units that are running the whole day while you are not home. So you're now spending money on things that you don't need. So make sure that if you're going to buy a house that is going to be your forever home, that is also in a location where you wanted to stay. In this case, this person regrets not buying the smaller home that could have built some equity in couple years and then be able to sell it. And if it's at least if it's closer to town, maybe could have that property become a better rental situation for this scenario. So always, always, always do your homework. Never, 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 never buy more than you cannot afford, because you will regret it. And buying real estate, guys, it's not like buying a car that you can just return. Technically you could, but it has a lot of implications, and implications that can ruin your financial life for the future. Sometimes there are fights among husband and wife, kids. If there are kids and they see the parents are stressing out about paying a house, it's a problem. So here's what I will tell you as a real estate agent you need to do moving forward is look at the numbers, talk to a professional agent, professional loan officer. Always interview realtors and two professional loan officers to get different perspective, run different scenarios when it comes to different down payments. Also, if you're going to be buying something that is outside of town where it involves more driving distance, do the math when it comes to talking about the additional expenses that you don't see right now, but believe me, they will be there, and you will regret them. And that's it, everybody. This is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching my video. I'm Robert Garcia here, and I am here to help you through this raw real estate market in the smart and simplified way. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to get more of this content, Please do me a favor, subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you ever need to get a hold of me, there is a QR code or a link over there you can click on and get on my calendar. And I'd be more than happy to get on the call with you as at your earliest convenience. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.